Hello, this is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Do you yearn for the days before deodorant and toilet paper, when the average age of most people was about 30 or 35, when women died in childbirth and men could expect to have 5 or 6 wives because they ran through them, assuming, of course, that they didn't die of bubonic plague or scrofula or syphilis or something else, and while everybody's complexion was charmingly marked by smallpox? Well, if so, then it's time to get some dances from Terpsichore by Michael Praetorius. I mean, this is stuff to relax. Most people sort of consider this to be Renaissance dances, although the collection Terpsichore was only compiled in the 1600s, which was almost 150 years after the Renaissance happened. But that's okay, because the music really was kind of the same as the dance music was. Let's take a moment and consider who Praetorius was and what Terpsichore is, because you've probably heard some of it without even knowing. Praetorius is best known these days as the guy who did the best setting of the Christmas carol, Lo, how a Rose ere blooming. In German, that's Es ist ein Ross entsprungen. Remember that? How that goes? Lo, how a rose ere blooming from tender stem hath sprung. It's very, very beautiful. He wrote tons of music, particularly mostly sacred music, and mostly written to be performed by in keeping with his Lutheran church philosophy, be performed by amateurs in local churches. He also did very elaborate and florid settings too. But a lot of his music is quite singable by normal people, which is why when you were in your high school glee club, as I was, along with the other geeks and freaks, we did Michael Praetorius Christmas carols, and they're quite beautiful. They really are extremely nice, and they're still sung today. So, you see this name, Michael Praetorius. His actual name was probably Schultheiss or Schulze, which is Praetorius in German. Praetorius, it means judge or magistrate or something, his last name. And so he took the Latinate name and he wrote books, lots of books. Published tons of music. His greatest book was something called the Syntagma Musicum, which is a 3-volume thing. It's partly in Latin and partly in German. And it really describes music of the day in the most complete possible way. It's an extremely valuable source for music of the period. And he had this sort of, maybe it was a German thing, because Bach was like that too, and Schütz and all those people. They had this sort of encyclopedic need to put together everything under the sun in one volume, which is great for us, as historians, because we have it. The Syntagma Musicum has beautiful photographs, woodcuts of all of the instruments that were used to play, dance music of the day and other kinds of music. And so we know, what the composition of ensembles were in the early Baroque period, which is when he worked. Because let me tell you, his dates were, 1571 roughly to 1621. He was 49 roughly when he died. And so although he didn't live very long, he was a busy man, a very, very busy man, including Terpsichore, because Terpsichore, his collection of dance music, consists of 312, yes, 312 dances that he drew from various sources, mostly French. And they are in 4, 5, and 6 parts with no scoring indicated. So you can orchestrate them however you like. And, the fabulous thing about Terpsichore, I don't know, throughout my musical career, I always find single discs, of like dances from Terpsichore. And I keep thinking to myself, how come no one ever does a complete Terpsichore? Well, now you know. Do you really want 312 little 1 and 2 minute dance tunes? God knows how many discs it would take to fill it out, and who's going to do it? You'd have to be crazy. But this is the kind of music, didn't you have like irritating friends when you were like growing up who used to go to those like Renaissance festival things? Remember those? I mean, people dress up and they it looks like some sort of like refugees from a backyard Shakespeare performance. And they're kind of annoying, because they start talking like refugees from a backyard Shakespeare performance. Methinks thou wast not keen to do, it's like, oh, God, go away. It's awful. They're so annoying. But, the wonderful thing about it is that if you have some dances from Terpsichore, then you can enjoy the music and not have to deal with the people. And you can take them on and put them on and take them off whenever you feel like it. I think, though, in order to listen to this music properly, you should have a recorder. I have my recorder here because you really can't do this stuff without your very own recorder. Now, the purpose of having a recorder, since a lot of us had one in childhood and youth, my nephew also has a recorder. It was required in Italian high school or grammar school music classes, and so is this thing. It's really a weapon. The purpose of having a recorder, see, doesn't it look threatening, is not to play it. It's to carry it around and let people think you're going to play it. And that should keep them at bay. Because if you've ever heard what these things sound like most of the time when amateurs such as myself play them, you're not going to want to be in the same room. Hell, you're not going to want to be in the same building. So get your recorder out when you're listening to this music, and let's talk about the performance of Terpsichore. So this is a selection of dances from Terpsichore. It's on Naxos, and I'm going to play you a couple of them. It's let's see. I cannot pronounce any of these people. Their names are absolutely impossible. They're Swedish, but like difficult Swedish. Swedish usually kind of sounds like English, only the spelling's all wrong and the pronunciation, you can figure out what they're saying. But not here. It has, let's see. It's led by Westra Aros Pijpare. Pijpare. I don't know how to pronounce that. With Lena Hellström-Färnlöf. The Ensemble Bourrasque, and led by Bertil Färnlöf. I'm going to write this all down underneath the little blurby thing that comes with this video so that you can figure out who these people are all by yourself. I'm not going to worry about the fluffs and the Westrafs and the whatever they are, but they're very, very, very good, and they've put together an absolutely lovely collection of dance music from Terpsichore. Now, one of the interesting things about Terpsichore is that Praetorius was kind enough, which was something not done in those days, to indicate where his sources came from, some of these dances. And so we know. And the dances are actually arrangements, quite a few of them, of vocal chansons and some things like that. And so in order that we don't run out of the room screaming, the Fernfluffs, or whatever they're called here, and the Westra Aros Pijpare, oh, that's a group. It's not a person. And here they are in their cute, here we go, look at this, in their adorable Renaissance or costumes of the period. So they play dress up while they do this stuff. And so, that must be like there's something pipers or, I don't know. I give up. But in any case, you get like courants and Branleys and all that stuff that you hear in this kind of music. But occasionally they do one of the chansons, and that's what I'm going to play you because it's really quite lovely. I'm going to play you a song by Orazio Vecchi, a little canzone or chanson, and then the courant, which is taken from it. The actual title of the chanson is something like "Si ben mi que bon tempo," or this is killing me. It's just killing me. Back in the days when I wrote reviews, and all I have to do is spell it correctly. I never had to say it. It's not fair, and I don't want to hear any crap from you people about my pronunciation. I really don't. I'm doing the best I can here. You wouldn't do any better. So let's be honest, all right? So So anyway, yes. So here we have a lot of these suckers on this disc. It's like 30 some odd or 20 some odd tracks. And most of these pieces, as I said, they're from 1 to 2 minutes long. The singing is lovely. The playing is quite beautiful. And you can take them in little bits. It's charming music to just sort of like put on and do housework to, and pay attention when you hear a tune that really sort of catches your fancy. But everybody really should have a collection of Terpsichore dances. And this one is as good as any. I mean, it really is. This is not the kind of repertoire that is going to require, enormous depth of, interpretive intellect, shall we say. It's just fun, light music to be played and enjoyed and danced to, which means it's good if you're moving around, like doing housework or, home repair projects. You can put it on for that. And it's a lovely, lovely disc to have. And that's all there is to be said for it. You just keep on listening to these things. It's amazing how much stuff is out there. And I actually enjoy this. I really do. Even when I have this thing sitting around, I can put it away and just play the music, and I don't have to deal with any of those irritating like Renaissance fair people from my youth. I just have this lovely disc of dance music to remind me of my childhood and of days of yesteryear and of the wonderful time before medicine and vaccinations and personal hygiene, and when people went to hospitals in order to die. They never came out again. That's what happened in those days. But you never know it from the music. The music makes you think everything was charming and fun and light and fluffy and people were happy and dancy and. And I think that's kind of the point. That's what music did, didn't it? And it was even more important back then, when if you made it to 40, that was an accomplishment. So thank you all very, very much. Enjoy some dances from Terpsichore by Michael Praetorius. Take care.